That's not us.
That's zoning board of appeals.
Oh, wait, there we go. Although it's not July,
Wait.
is it July, it's not July 2nd.
What's that?
It's not July 2nd.
Tomorrow.
Why, did it say July
Yeah,
2nd?
it said July 2nd.
Does it?
It did
We'll change it.
on the, yeah, July.
We'll change it.
Okay, Troy, no pressure. Going to start it off. Good evening. Today is Monday, July 1st, 2024. I'd like to call the regular Board of Selectmen's meeting to order.
Troy Lemire.
Paul Harrington.
Tyler Shalashi.
Glenn Albanesius.
William Hester.
Candy Perez.
William Pozo.
Selectman Marino is excused. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Agenda review. Seeing nothing, moving on to item 4. Can I have an approval of minutes of our regular meeting from June 17th?
So moved.
Thank you, Bill. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Bill. Any discussion? All in favor? 5-0. Can I have approval of the minutes of the special meeting? Well, actually, it's not really a special meeting, is it? Because there wasn't a quorum. Of June 20th, 2024.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
And I will second since I was there. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstaining? Yes. Troy, abstain?
No, I voted yes.
Abstain?
No, they could vote yes.
Oh, you voted yes?
Yeah,
Okay.
they could vote yes.
So, 401. Moving on to item 5, citizens' comments. The Board of Selectmen welcomes public comments. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes and may speak once. Who'd like to speak? Captain, sir?
Happens to be my new walking stick. A colleague of mine, Captain Alan Driscoll, made that for me. A lot of skill went into making that. Okay. I brought a few of the past agendas with me to prove the fact that this 3-minute public citizen's comment is illegal, all right? On February 19th, the citizens' comments were supposed to be 5 minutes per individual, 10 minutes if representing a group. Same thing was on the March 18th. And now we have this thing. Now, what happened in the intervening time is two things. One, somewhere it was plucked out of thin air, the 3-minute. Who did it? I have no, I've been trying to find that out. At the time, the majority sitting at the BOS was the Democrats. Now, they also pulled a fast one. They wanted to censor, I have this, it's on the agenda for, I've got it here. It's in March. And what they
Could
wanted
you
to do.
say what year that was, please?
I'm sorry?
Could you say what year that was?
Yeah, it was 2013.
So 10 years ago, 12 years ago, 11
Yeah,
years
about
ago?
that.
Okay.
Still, there's no statute of limitation on this, so don't worry about it. We have February 19th, and then it comes to citizens' comments on March 18th. That stated that citizens' comment will be limited to no more than 40 minutes in total. Persons went to ask to state their name and address for the record. And citizens' comments. Then it went on to the next agenda, which turned out to be, let me find it. the censorship. What they wanted was you could only comment on things that were on the agenda. That is against the First Amendment and against the town charter, because the town charter specifies that a citizen can speak on any business for the town. It does not state any time limit, period, none. So that's the situation there. And the ACLU, back when Mary Ann Welcome was here, we had to go through this whole rigmarole. And they were going to proceed with legal situations concerned with the way what happened. And what it was, simple put, is at that time, some of the sitting board members couldn't take sarcasm. Not nasty, it was not nasty, no nasty word, they just couldn't handle sarcasm. So they went ahead to try to pull some shady deal, and that's why we're still coming up with, you got 3 minutes to speak. Well, I don't believe in that. I'm gonna take my 5 minutes whether you like it or not, period. All right, because that's what I'm going by. That should have been reversed immediately right after the ACLU letter was received. Never happened. They pulled a shady trick. So that's the case there. Now, the one thing that I'm very disturbed about is that at the time, none of the sitting Board of Selectmen, or even now, this one here, have taken Ms. Perez to task, right? That's the thing. She insulted people. She called people skunks, citizens, skunks publicly.
Did not.
Yes, you did. Don't say because,
Stop raising your voice.
I said I wasn't gonna get into a pissing war with a skunk.
that's right, you're not gonna do it because I'm not gonna let you.
Oh, good, because I guess you're in control of me. Because
No,
you
I'm
came
not in
all the way here
control. You're
tonight
just
for me.
lying.
You came all
All
the
right,
way
can
here
you get back
So
tonight.
anyway, so it was James Roberts came in, and if anybody, Glendon, he had a skunk hat on at a BOS meeting. It's on videotape or an audio and everything. Her comment about calling people skunks is on audio, all right?
Oh, so I apologize profusely for 14 years ago.
So what? There's no statute of
That's what you
limitation.
want me to do, right? So I just apologize for 14 years ago. And every time you mention my name, I get to say something back to you.
Okay? Now, just so you all know, I hold a personal warrant on this lady. Personal warrant. Why? Because I made, and these are my exact words, I hold no vendetta against
I
Ms.
have plenty
Perez.
of money to go to court,
Two,
so
I
let's
do
go.
not
Oh.
have anything against any individual
Sorry,
that
that's
has
3
a
minutes.
lifestyle. If you like the lifestyle you live, God bless you. That's my exact word.
You know, this is getting like personal, and I think that.
Keep the,
And 3
conversation-
minutes
This
are
is
up.
not personal.
3
There's no
minutes are
person.
up.
keep the
Todd.
conversation
3 minutes are
relying
up.
on town business,
He went down
please.
the path of me, so I get to say something,
No,
and I
no,
think it's,
Let me finish.
no, you're out of
You
time.
said
And you
to
keep
me,
saying
you
things
looked
to
at
me.
me and you said,
I don't know,
I
somebody should
dislike your
control this.
lifestyle.
Somebody
She
should
got the
control
personal
this.
thing. She said she dislikes my lifestyle. I questioned her, first of all right? And the thing
Here
was,
we go, it's Candy
it was
versus, hey,
totally
Steve,
ignored.
Steve,
What? And it's Stefan, not Steve.
okay, Steph.
Or you can call me Captain.
I think it's like
Or Mr.
over, we got
Krasinski.
other things we need to do. And if you're gonna be yelling at me, and your intention is about me, then let's step outside and go get our attorneys, and do whatever you have to do out there, and yell
We
at me,
don't. You
you're
broke
warrant,
Title
you're this, you're
18.
that. You're taking up all
All
their
right,
time.
we're getting off track here, let's
Of
roll
course
it
we're off
back.
track.
So anyway, the second time I questioned her, she sat there silent, and then she had the audacity to say, I'm mean. She said it. It's on the videotape.
And you are.
How am I mean? All I stated
You
was.
told
Address
me
the
to-
board, please, and not one
We're like
particular
at 5
selectman.
minutes now.
All I stated was the truth.
All right, let's go for 10.
All right? So that's the bottom. Now, as far as I'm concerned, why didn't any
Well, yeah, I guess
board
so,
of selectmen
but I don't know.
take her to task, charge her with ethnic violations, and Did you guys grow a wishbone instead of a backbone?
All right, you're at your 5 minutes that I allowed you to
good.
continue for. Thank you,
Thank you.
sir. Would anyone else like to speak? Come on up.
Excuse me. And I'm getting shaky.
Louise Van Alstyne, 32 Oak Street. And I am very proud of our selectmen and everyone that is included here tonight. And I am particularly pleased with Tandy's representation of all of us. You do a great job. And I'm sorry that we have such unpleasantness at a meeting that is supposed to be so much more professional. So thank you for the rest of you doing your jobs as well as you do as volunteers. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, moving on to item number 6, Town Manager's Report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had time to sit down this afternoon and write out some thoughts, so in no particular order, but let me go through the last 2 weeks. So I did have an opportunity to tour the library and found it wonderfully awesome. The structure of the building, met with the director over there, just an unbelievable community asset of all the wonderful things that they're doing throughout the summer and throughout the year, but really engaging the community in all the wonderful things that they're doing out there. But really, I was ultimately impressed. That building is just beautiful. I mean, what a great library. So I wanted to say that I had the opportunity to go over and see the library. I did go up to Torrington. I met with Mr. Capabianco, who runs the Hartford Healthcare up in Torrington. Always good to, obviously they have a facility here. He runs that one. He obviously runs the Torrington one. So I did get a chance to go up and talk with Mr. Capabianco up at Hartford Healthcare. Also, I met with Jim Rollins, our Public Works Director, Senator Harding, and Representative Case about additional funding for the Public Works Garage. As you remember, we did get a direct spend. A lot of the back and forth went, do we apply for a SIF, or is it going to be a potential bond note that they put in for the budget for next year? Senator Harding and Representative Case, initial emails are showing we may want to apply for round 5 of SIF, which will become available this fall, but they're going to let us know. We have a little bit of time to figure that out, but if you remember, we did get about $2.5 million from Congressman Larson's office. We're going to need about $6 million to do that full facility over. We may want to do it in piecemeals as money becomes available, but again, we do have $2.5 million, and as that award is saying, it likes to be the last money that gets put in, but we do have a call out into Congressman Larson's office to see if he wouldn't mind allowing us to unlock some of that money, because in order to apply for SIF or even for additional state bonding, one of the items is they're going to want to see real hardcore plans. And those plans are expensive, so hopefully the initial conversation with Congressman Larson's office was positive, and it sounds like they will allow us to do that, but they do want to get back to us to see if we can do that. We did have a few board members in from the Sewer Commission, and Selectman Hester was with me as well. We had a wonderful conversation with the aging infrastructure that we have, different ways to potentially fast track some of the stuff that goes on a day-to-day basis. We've agreed that we're going to continue our meetings. I think the knowledge that Selectman Hester provides, being a Class 4 operator himself and the liaison from the Board of Selectmen, really is eye-opening in some of the things that I can offer, being an ex-president of a WPCA in the town that I used to work for. We did meet with the police department union, and also the chief and I. We all sat in a room end of last week. Discussions are having. I know you all have heard about the overwork, the call-ins. We're getting there. We're not there yet. We're meeting again tomorrow, and we're meeting again on Wednesday with hopes of an all-hands meeting scheduled for July. It's either 8th or 9th. It'll be the week right after the 4th of July, where we bring in all the officers, all the sergeants, everything, and able to lay out our new plan. It's looking at the schedule. It's looking at things differently. We did provide immediate relief for the officers in that we took an officer that was working the midnight shifts and brought him to the evening shifts. So the call-ins are more on the, how do I put this delicately? 14% of the call volume is only called in on the midnight shift. So if we're bringing in an officer, it is on the lesser call volume shift. If stated perfectly, is that, so the officers were happy with that. We have more work to do down there, but I just want to report that we are trying to work towards an additional MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, to allow some relief. And we're working through it. Again, we're going to meet again tomorrow and again on Wednesday with hopefully rolling this whole thing out on July 8th or on 9th. Had a great meeting end of last week. I met with WOW, and if you don't know what WOW is, it's the Women of Winstead. It's about 12, 14 women-owned businesses here in town. Let me tell you, if you haven't met these women, they are extraordinary. They are go-getters, and they're not just sitting around, you know, drinking herbal teas on a random Thursday night. They really want to push Winstead forward. They want to do whatever they can. They came with a bunch of ideas. They held both the chief and I failed to mention that the chief did join me that night as well. They came back and they said, okay, you know, what are the action items? And the action item that I had was, we, a while back, before I got here, had applied for a study. We had applied for 2 studies to study our Main Street. One of them we did get, one of them we did not. The one that we did get would study all of the roads. We do plan on launching that study sometime late summer, early fall. So I reported that back to them as well. So, but the Women of Winstead, they actively want to help all of us grow this town. They're not just sitting by and, you know, having a Thursday night out. They are some serious go-getters. So it was great to meet with them, and I do plan on, they meet once a month. I do plan on going to several of their meetings throughout the year. Some good news, we did finally receive the grant for the new senior bus. I know there was some back and forth. Was it going to be funded? Was it not going to be funded? I walked in late last week and I received an email from the state that we did receive the $127,000. If you remember, we did put in a little bit of ARPA money to offset the additional cost, but we are going to be getting a new senior bus. Just this past, when did we go to the People's Forest? Was that, the schedule's all rolling together. Was that Thursday or Friday?
Friday.
Was it Friday? No, it was Thursday. It was my son's birthday. It was Thursday. So Highland Conservation Act with the Housatonic Valley Association. It was just to commemorate all of the wonderful things that those associations are doing in protecting this land. And you know, it was something that because I didn't grow up around here where there was all this beautiful land, and something that the senator had said was, you know, we've borrowed this land and we have to turn it over to the next generation. And we want to turn it over better than when we got it. And it really stuck in my brain that day of, we are doing great things. And I think you'll see later on in the agenda when we're going to talk about 1,300 acres, that we're going to continue down that path. And we're literally, when we turn this over to the next generation, hopefully we are turning it over better than we got it, because we've beaten up the land a little bit around here, you know, so we should be doing things like this, and it was pretty eye-opening. So I was glad I went. Selectwoman Perez and Mayor Todd was with me that day as well. It was a very well-packed event. The pavilion was filled. There wasn't a seat to be had. I mean, it was standing room only there. And then I did meet with Joe Miller about his project. Still up in the air, but on a different note, I did ask about the facade grant, and he was supposed to do the windows. He has promised that he would be writing a check back to the town for $20,000. I put that publicly on record for a reason as well, because that was in my office on Friday. Tom was in there as well, so we should be receiving the $20,000. He said he was going to go back to his office and write it that day. Check the mail today, but we'll be following up with an email tomorrow. The audit is complete. So we filed all paperwork. We were here late on Friday, but the audit is officially complete. So just get ready to start the next audit, because the fiscal year just ended yesterday. So the audit is complete. And last but not least, we have somebody that now has letters after their name. our town clerk passed the certification. He got the results today by email, so congratulations. He's fancy, he's got letters after it. What is it,
CTC.
CTC, so he's got fancy letters after his name.
But it was a good 2.5 years, right?
It was a long haul.
And there was a little bit of a hiccup along the way, and Glenn was not part of it, but there was word out that everybody knew what the test was, so they changed up their test, and every clerk that I know, including our own, that went to this, they said the test was hard. So kudos to Glenn for passing this extremely new, very hard test. I think the state came out and they wanted to test you guys, and they tested you, so I think that's just a testament of all the hard work that you put in over the years, and he's got this CTC, what is it again? CTC after his name. So congratulations,
Thank
Glenn.
you, Ruben. Appreciate it.
With that, I'll open it up for any questions that the board may have.
Questions?
I got one.
Sure.
It's not really a question. Well, I guess it is a question. I've been talking to downtown businesses, and it's come to my attention, and maybe this has been going on for a long time that I just didn't know about, but the employees for each one of these businesses are parking on the business side of the road. Is there any way do we have an ordinance or anything that we can make them park on the riverside?
So it is a state road, so we won't have much say in terms of, that would be an employer-employee relationship.
Something that the town can talk to the employers maybe and see if they would be willing to, 'cause that's where the business is. The riverside's not the business side, so.
Yep, oh, I understand that. I guess, question back is, wouldn't the employer instruct their employee that they should park on the riverside? Because, they're opening their businesses
Right.
for customers who want to spend
Maybe
money.
they're not aware that there's an issue.
Yeah, so you're getting the complaints from
From people.
customers?
No, well, the owners are saying that, owners that don't have employees.
Okay.
Are saying that.
Gotcha.
This restaurant
Okay.
and all their employees are parking, so I'm not able to have people park in front of my business.
I would, Paul, what you might want to do is go back when Josh did a parking survey
Okay,
of the businesses and review that.
okay.
That was something that was in there.
So this has been going on for a while.
But it's not the same view. There's views on both sides.
Okay.
So there's views on both sides. I mean, if you look at the Main Street too, there's the residential parking that is there, that especially in that block over there.
Right.
And that's why the last board was talking about having a limit on overnight parking, was to move the residents off the business side at least. But go back and look at.
Let me look at that,
survey.
and then, and not to debate here tonight, but just, I think some of it, you'll hear employee safety too, if they're getting out late at night, they don't wanna cross the street. So I'm assuming once I look for this parking survey, employee safety is gonna probably be an item, but
Yes.
Troy, you and I can take it offline. I hear you, obviously, we do wanna save our spots, for,
Something that was-
customers, but I also understand you're not gonna have a shop if you don't have an employee who feels safe getting into work. So there's probably a happy medium, but
Okay.
let me look at the
It just
further
came to my
survey.
attention, so
Yeah, it's good.
I wasn't aware of it before.
Got it written down.
Other questions? Seeing none. Item 7, correspondence. Does anyone have anything?
You got that thing you're gonna talk about that?
Selectmen's comments.
Okay.
Item 8, boards and commissions.
So, we no longer have Selectmen Sedlec, so I guess I would like to do the boards and commissions.
You're on the committee, right, anyways?
Me and Bill are, yeah. You're still on it with me, right?
Yeah, I will, with the, if we could, with the guidance of our new
Yeah, just-
CTC.
With letters behind it there.
And we have
Because I
no-
believe you have the new software and all that, Glenn, right? You're up on the boards and commissions, I think so.
Yeah, we'll chat about that when it gets to it. on the,
a couple items down.
We're okay with that? So obviously tonight, as everybody can see, we don't have anything. We still have open vacancies, Architectural Committee, Conservation Commission, Agricultural District Commission, Economic Development Commission, Laurel City Commission, and the Rec Board. So if anybody's interested, please come forward.
Thank you, Troy. Item number 9, unfinished business. We have no unfinished business. Item number 10. Item A, 24-35, proposed line item transfer. Paul?
So as you see in your packet, the first one for 24-35 in the amount of $3,760.45. This is dealing with the fiscal year 24 budget, just so we're all straight, because clearly we don't have a 25 budget yet. But right now, there is a remaining amount of $3,760.45. The commission did apply for a U.S. Department of Interior for new Canon carriages. This would be the match from the town. In order to do this match, we would want to move these funds into a capital account so we don't sweep them as we close out the books for the 24 fiscal year. So before you tonight is taking the roughly $3,700, putting it into a capital account, so if we do get the grant, we are prepared with the actual match that the grant is looking for.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Troy. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Seeing no discussions, all in favor? 5-0. Motion passes. Item B, 24-36, proposed line item transfer. Paul?
This comes before a meeting that we had with the Registrar's Office, who then met with SOTS. They do encourage towns to increase the security around voting. We do have a very good camera out by the ballot box at the front door, but they also have asked or suggested that we increase the security in the actual town hall where people are coming in to actually vote in the Registrar's Office. As you know, early voting will begin this summer and also in the fall. So what's before you today is adding 2 additional cameras into the hallway that will be viewed, or recorded down in the police department in the amount of $2,100 to add more camera angles to this actual hallway right here. So as people come in and vote, we have camera views of them.
They vote in the Registrar's Office or the Town Clerk's Office?
Yes. So they start in the Registrar's Office, and they start there, then, they check, and we're gonna, as early day or early voting takes place, I don't know if you remember back when it was primary time. There's different stations set up, so we wanna have security, we wanna make sure, obviously, ballots aren't being, given to somebody else or anything like that, and the person who actually got the ballot maintains that ballot, and we can go back to video evidence if there's any type of action that we need to take.
Do we have a motion?
I move the Board of Selectmen approve the following line items: appropriation transfers of $2,100 from the registers, elections, and referendums. 1-113-83740 to town hall buildings. 1-127-83140 in the amount of $2,100.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor? 5-0. Passes. Item 24-37, refunds as recommended by the Collector of Revenues.
As you see, we do have one before you tonight. It's in the amount of $497.37 as recommended by the Collector of Revenue.
Is there a motion?
I make a motion that the Board of Selectmen authorize the refunds recommended by the Collector of Revenue in the amount of $497.37.
Second.
Thank you, Troy. Thank you, Bill. Discussion? All in favor? Unanimous, 5-0. Item number D, or letter D, Conservation and Easement Agreement. Paul?
So this is, I kind of alluded to when I was going through the town manager's report. This is really, really exciting. I'd like to take all the credit for it, but I can't. I'm just the guy that gets to sign his name on the actual agreement. Just to bring you up to speed, we seem to be going backwards in in time, but I'm not gonna go back 10 years, I'm only gonna go back 2. Back in 2022, 21 actually, this all began. DEEP came to the town wanting to put a easement over about 1,300 acres of land. The town immediately lined up with it and loved everything that Deep was suggesting. In fact, back in March 14th of 2022, Planning and Zoning did sign off on Connecticut General Statute 8-24, which state law requires. Then again, on May 16th of 2022, we went to town meeting with unanimous support of putting the easement on roughly 1,300 acres. Tonight, I am just here to inform the board, no action is needed, but we finally do have the agreement in place, and that tomorrow morning, first thing, that I will be signing the agreement on behalf of the town, sending it back to Deep, receiving a check for roughly $750,000, which is going to be used between water and sewer, and that we will have, and in your packet was included, roughly the 1,300 plus acres of land that we will now have an easement on, or the state will now have an easement on, that will protect the water that ultimately really needs to be done. And again, this goes back to what I said earlier, just one more step further into turning over this planet to the next generation a little bit better than when we received it.
Just one real important thing, this is around our entire water system, the reservoir, Crystal Lake. So it being around the entire reservoir, it's to protect actually drinking water. And if you look at all the stuff around drinking water today, and it's really important that we're very lucky here in Winston to have the asset of the quality of water that we have.
Other questions, comments?
I just want to say thank you, Candy, because that's an excellent point that I left
And-
out.
That's why it's that land.
And I couldn't agree more, because I know for a fact that there are people up there riding quads, motorcycles, dumping, and hopefully we get some people up there. They can see, somebody up there and kind of policing the area, so to speak, to help and to protect our water, because it is one of our most valuable assets, for sure.
I was on the Planning and Zoning Commission when this went through, and one of our main concerns was the money. We felt that the land was worth a lot more money than $750,000, but they didn't have any more money to give. That's the most that they could get. And I still feel that way. I feel that 1,300 acres is worth a lot more money than that, but,
The town still owns it. We
right,
just-
but you can't do anything with it, so you can't
Well,
sell
we're not
it.
doing anything with it anyway.
We wouldn't want to do anything with it.
We
as
haven't
it's
done
our water
anything with
source.
it because it protects the water system.
Fine, it's already done, so.
Item,
One question on this too, the forest stewardship plan they have in place for that. So basically, the town retains the ownership of and the state maintains the conservation. Usually they go in every 10, 15 years to selectively log it off to keep the forest healthy around it. Does that proceeds from that logging go to the town, or does that go to the state as well?
I believe, because we had talked about this, because I was on the Water and Sewer Commission when this came all up, I believe that money will actually go to the water department. And so will this $750,000.
Correct.
It actually goes to the water department.
So that you
It
will get
stays.
the lumber off that?
Right, they sell the lumber and the water keeps it for them.
Because it doesn't, just saying, it doesn't say that in there.
I guess I would counter, it would be a pretty hard argument for them to make, because we ultimately still own all those
Still
trees.
own that land.
We own that land, so
Right.
that would be like me going onto your house, chopping down a tree on your land.
We own
and
it, but
saying,
it says in here they have the forest rights to the property. But
Right.
it doesn't say anything about the,
They have the rights, but they don't own the actual, actual
they
tree.
have the rights to what they call the stewardship plan. So I was
Right, because
just,
they're gonna
again,
make
not that I
trails
don't,
out there.
not that I don't trust the state, but
Yeah, there's gonna be trails, so there'll be people walking, they're intertwining with land, trust land, and
Right.
to get everybody, some good paths out there.
And they probably just want to know that you're going to have, when they want to approve approve the stewardship plan, they just wanna know that you're responsibly logging.
Right.
You know, that you're not just going and
Right.
take every tree, that it's a
Right.
I mean, it's been logged now for long time, intermittently.
Yeah, usually they do the hardwoods and then went after the softwoods and vice versa.
So again, no action, I just wanted to tell you that.
Yeah.
We're gonna close this chapter tomorrow well, we can close it tonight, but, I don't think that anyone at the state's gonna be there, but we're prepared to send it. There was a couple of, because there was a change in, town manager, so I had to get them a bunch of forms and all of that. They've gotten all that, so just so you're all aware that tomorrow morning, this will be, signed and sent over to Deep for counter signature by, Commissioner Dykes. And then, I'll be checking the mail every day for $750,000. I know Water and Sewer will be looking.
Item E, discussion regarding boards and commissions. Paul? Glenn?
So Glenn and I had a quick conversation about boards and commissions, and we felt that we had a little bit of a lighter agenda tonight. We thought tonight would possibly be a good time to just have a simple conversation about the way we do boards and commissions, the reports, how often we do it. Some conversation is do we want to do it at every meeting? Do we want to do it once a month? The way we actually, have 3 different meetings before a person gets put on it. Glenn and I just went back and forth, and I'm gonna let the town clerk chime in to offer up some input. But I said, well, let's bring it to the board and see what the board thinks. Glenn, what did you want to add?
And that basically, is it just a topic of discussion as I kind of use streamlining as a guide for what I try to do every day, simplify, streamline, whatever. I took this on to help Terry out because she was spending, it's Candy, it's not an easy job. It's at times kind of overwhelming to keep track of a lot of information and keep it accurate. But I thought a suggestion would be to do it once a month rather than twice. And I know that there's going to be situations where a board may need a seat filled, so I would just offer some counsel and say, if that situation comes up, you just put it on the agenda. If the group, agrees to do it once a month, but be nimble enough to schedule it if you are in a situation where you need to seat someone. So that was really suggestion number 1, and then the other point of discussion would be, we really have 3 phases: consideration, nomination, and appointment. And as I'm sure you're all aware, it kind of drags out a little bit, and I think there might be a way to either eliminate or speed up, combine, whatever strategy we want to employ to make these appointments happen a little bit quicker. Kind of leave it at that. The reappointments are simple. We just qualify the board or commission member that they want to continue, and once they say yes, we get them on, we vote them, and that's dispensed pretty quickly. The resignations happen, we just make note of it. It's really the 3 steps: consideration, nomination, and appointment, that puts it into a month and a half.
So it should kind of be consideration and vetting the first month, and then voting on the next meeting after that. So, and then save a half a month.
I would say the consideration steps could be done as soon as they fill out the application.
Right.
Verify their status, verify. Because I'm in support of doing it once a month, but if we're doing it once a month and still have 3 steps, that just doubled the 6
Right,
months.
Yeah,
to 12.
Yep.
Right, agreed.
So you wanna do somebody puts in an application to Glenn or to the town manager or to the committee, you vet immediately, you don't wait for a meeting to vet, and then if everything
can
works
bring it
out,
to that
if they're
meeting.
resident when they're supposed to be a resident, if they're all those things that they're supposed to be, then you nominate them at the meeting, and then the next meeting you vote, and that'll be a 2-month step.
And I think the consideration should include, just listening to the way you spoke, Katie, the vetting process probably should be put in writing. I think we have the word vet associated to what we do, but I don't know if there's any formal process, but obviously the commissioner board should know what's going on. I think the board of selectmen should know what's going on, so maybe identify the key players and just spell out exactly what the protocol should be.
I think we need to tighten it up a little bit because I joined the committee from day one when I took office. And I keep seeing nominations come up and we vetted them and this and that. Not once did I've never received an application, phone number, email. As far as vetting, you know, next thing you know, it comes up to us for consideration and whatnot. So we almost need to do an email chain or something. An application comes in, whoever's on the committee gets copied that application. We get to read it. Not at the select meeting. All right, we're considering this person. Well, I'd like to do a little research on this person before we.
When Paul and I talked this afternoon, we mouthed the words, but we both kind of smiled afterwards that it would be nice if either the liaison or the chairman was responsible for tracking some of the stuff that I have to do.
That's what I was just gonna say. So we need to relieve you a little bit. I think me and Bill can take over. Well, the applications come to you though.
Yeah.
So once you get an application, if you let Bill and I know, we'll do the vetting process for you and then present it to the board.
But on the other side of things is one of the things that you have to vet is you have to vet the political party. You have to vet so that you know which party it is.
Right, and we
You
can
also
do
have to
that,
vet the commission
registers.
to make sure your commission is balanced.
Correct.
And doesn't exceed state statute on a
Correct.
lot of things. And that you're gonna need the clerk and registrar on anyway.
Right.
Right, so you do need that. The second thing is with your committee, by using the town clerk, it also keeps it out of the partisan ranks.
Right.
You know, if it just goes through selectmen for the vetting, then it also can be seen as partisan. So involving Glenn or Terry or somebody like that is not a bad thing to do in terms of the vetting, you know, and making sure, you know, because some committees, like historical, you don't need the residency, planning, zoning, ZBA, et cetera, you need residency. So I think you're leading towards like a checklist for the vetting process.
Yeah, and I'll make the suggestion so we don't go on and on about it. Two things. I have put spreadsheets together for each of the commissions. I've given some of you, I've handed those out. I've also attached or started to attach the statutes or the ordinance or whatever manages or guides how they're formed, when their term is up, all that information I'll try to have attached to the spreadsheet for the list. But my suggestion tonight would be, let's come back to this next meeting with an outline of what we'd like to see happen so that we can.
Good idea.
We want to see openness of, it's not broke, guys, don't try and fix it, but it sounds like this board is willing to look at some new ideas for it, which is great. So that's what we're hoping for tonight.
Yep.
Glenn, what's the name of the software we're gonna roll out? I always forget it. It's not OpenGov, it's.
It's clerk-based, and I forget what.
So in essence, once we get it all straightened out, and you'll be able to go on the town's website, and you can click on any boards of commission, you can see who the member is, and when their term goes to, and everything, and then, I'm gonna drive home tonight, and the names are popped in my head, but that then, once we get all of the information loaded into it, that then will allow a little bit less work in that we're not tracking as much, because now the computer's tracking it, as long as the information we input in is correct. That's the most important. That's why we haven't rolled it out yet.
Yep.
But, all right, let us sit back down again. We were just looking, as you know, we have some vacancies. We were in hopes of trying to fast track it a little bit. And I think I saw one glaring thing, that if we do this once a month, we could go from the nomination to the appointment. That could take a month. We may be right back down to, if we have a nomination, 2 weeks later, that second meeting, we may want to take up the appointment if we can get the work done. So let us sit back down again, but just talking it through, I just found a hole that, wait, I don't want to make a month. We somebody's excited, they fill out an application, I'm like, why are we making them wait 6 to 8 weeks before they sit down?
I
you know?
agree on certain commissions.
So-
I think one thing we're weak on as a town, I think a lot of towns are, is again, these are volunteer positions, right? We're asking people come in, donate their time and whatnot. But I think if we have a commission, the clerk's involved and whatnot, we need to work on recruitment and retention a little more if we can, because, again, volunteer positions, but honestly, and not categorizing jobs, right? But if I get a retired baker, I mean, great, he's volunteering, but do I need him on inland wetlands or planning and zoning? You know, preferably landscaper, architect, forester, you know what I mean? But we don't have a huge pool to choose, but if we could work on recruitment a little more, maybe we have a choice to put these groups together. Again, volunteer position, but I've run personally into a situation this year where we have people making decisions on stuff that they really don't know much about, which is, again, volunteers, but sometimes certain commissions, I think we need a little bit of background and expertise on.
Isn't there, planning and zoning, don't they have training classes that they have to do? Does
By state law, they have to
ZBA
now?
too?
Not to join,
But to be on the commission, right, planning and zoning is
you
ZBA.
have to complete it, if your first year on there, you have to have
You have to have so
schooling now.
much schooling,
That just came about, that was not like that
It
before.
was a year ago, state law. ZBA, that was always in place, but planning and zoning, I believe the state passed a law, it was either 1 year or 2 years ago, where within a year you had to take the class, be certified.
What was it, 8 hours or something?
Same with inland wetlands as well?
Inland wetlands as well, they have to take a class as well, excellent point. Yep, all right, so, now, you can continue all you wish, but we're hearing you loud and clear.
So Troy, you and Bill are, okay.
Just get a hold of us, Glenn, and we'll work something out.
Yeah. All right, thank you for everybody.
You'd be
for-
okay with me joining?
Sure,
Yeah.
Just to,
more the merrier.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Moving on to item number F, consider and possibly act on the appointment of a moderator for July 16th town meeting.
So as you're probably aware, we do have a town meeting scheduled for July 16th. It's for that lead water line
Lead service
replacement.
line,
Lead service line. My recommendation, and after talking to them, it is a meeting at 5:30. Not sure how long it'll go, but a fairly simple one. Obviously, Mr. Rollins will be there as well. But my recommendation is to have Todd as our moderator at that meeting that night, for that meeting at 5:30 on the 16th. But I would need a motion for a moderator for the town meeting on the 16th.
make a motion to appoint Todd Archulowski as moderator for July 16th town meeting regarding the water
Lead
line-
service line.
lead service lines.
I'll second the motion. And I'll be there too to help you.
Thank you, Bill. Any discussion? All in favor? 5-0 unanimous.
And to that meeting, you bring all the same stuff that went to the other meeting, the town meeting. You know, the procedures.
Yes, yes.
You good? Yep. Moving on to item 11, citizens' comments. The Board of Selectmen welcomes public comments.
Good evening.
Make sure you're talking to the microphone so they can hear you on YouTube.
Sure. Jill Zitney, 159 Pratt Street. As I was listening, I'm very excited to hear all of the, about the senior bus and everything that's coming together. My other second point is recruitment. When you're just talking about recruiting volunteers, would it be possible, perhaps, to say, have a list of vacancies with a basic description and an application around town, like the library or something like that? Because I come here and I listen, and I got to tell you, when you read the list of vacancies, I'm like, so if we could actually have, like, you know, I don't know, just an idea. I don't know if you're allowed to put it at like in other towns I've been to, they have like a table of things outside, like a voting thing. I don't know if it's allowed in this town, but anyway. The final thing I wanted to comment on is the police situation, the contract. It concerns me greatly that they are so overworked, and it saddens me that people around town don't understand how hard they work for how little they get and the situation that they're in, the building, and, I hear comments here and there about, someone outside tonight was kvetching about, the police, and I was like, do you realize their situation? And I think that people don't realize what they're going through, and I just, again, publicly want to say thank you for all that they do for us, for very little appreciation and very public appreciation and very little in return, and it would make me feel so much better as a citizen if they had a solid contract with a decent workspace. And that's all I want to say about that. So hopefully, whatever you're working on is going through. And again, thank you all for volunteering. And it is a little overwhelming, by the way, when you listed all of the things, like if I were going to volunteer, I would have to sit here and, do I have to sit here and answer questions? Like, what does that look like when you volunteer for a committee?
For a board and commission?
Yeah.
Are you coming in tomorrow?
What was that?
Will you be in tomorrow? I see you here a lot, that's why I asked.
I could be.
If you do, why don't we grab 5-10 minutes tomorrow?
Okay.
And I'll go through like boards and commissions with you,
Oh,
and I
that'd
can
be
tell
great.
you all
Okay.
the wonderful things,
It
but
seems
yeah.
it seems a little overwhelming, so maybe that was, maybe that might be.
It depends on the
They
day.
have a page on
Okay.
the website.
It says,
It really
it says
depends
call
on the day.
on the website, it says call the town clerk for a list, so.
And then you and I can.
Always
talk
throw
Alright.
with the
Yeah,
glove.
maybe a board where your skill set after meeting you, where you may fit good.
Okay,
Maybe not. So,
yes,
we'll
so
talk.
You
anyway.
know, to move on to her point, I know you have a bulletin board in your office. Is there a bulletin board like in the lobby that has like town announcements or,
Outside.
Yeah, just outside the, right above that table.
oh, there is?
Right outside here.
Okay, all right.
But there's
Yeah.
also, there should be an application on the website.
There is,
It
but
may
then
be
you,
hard to find it, because a lot of things are hard to find on
it's easy to
that
find, but
website.
then you gotta print it, and then you gotta that, and I'm like this, like, I'm retired, I'm like, now I gotta get a printer, and now I gotta, look at this, it's kinda all blurry, cause I don't have any ink, like, if you had one there, I'd be like, oh, okay, I just think it's easier.
Well, I mean, Terry could also print one and mail them out too.
Yeah.
But,
Is there explanations of what each commission?
that's
is
what I'm
entitled-
saying, like
'Cause I
have
think
a,
that was their concern.
I'm sorry.
There's some in the charter on,
So,
because I'm still learning the website. I want to go under each board and commission if there's a little blurb, and I don't believe there is. My head's starting to
That's what I'm
wander in
saying,
a
I'm
good
like-
way of improvements, so.
I have to like go to, like, if there's just like a list, like, this committee does this committee does that, this committee, because, people are busy, and then I have to go to the charter, and then I gotta look at the thing, and then I click on the thing, and then I gotta print out the thing, and then I gotta fill out the thing, and I gotta, so anyway. It just seemed like a lot, where if you could just have the brief synopsis, pile of applications. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Who's setting the timer?
Getting tougher and sucks getting old. Captain Stephen Kosinski, 105A Standard Avenue in Connecticut. First item, I'd like to know, do we have a parliamentarian? I didn't think so, but it's required in the town charter.
Parliamentarian.
Okay. Second item is concerning Friends of Main Street, which is a 5013C nonprofit organization. And when Bob Geiger was the town manager, I questioned this, is why is it listed on the town website? What is it, a board or a commission? Because it's a 5013C nonprofit organization. So how can it be listed under boards and commissions?
It's probably a board.
All right, we need to know that. Plus, this is my own opinion, it says, whatever monies we've been giving them, which is about 10 grand a year, that money would be better off served to buy the kids sporting equipment. But that's my own personal opinion on that. And last but not least, is based on my personal warrant on Ms. Perez is I want to know why she considers my lifestyle to be, she dislikes my lifestyle. She knows nothing about my life. She knows nothing about me personally. I took an oath 3 times as an enlisted Navy man, as a merchant marine officer, and as a naval officer, which is to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. I have not broken any of those. It's the same oath I've taken. That selectman has betrayed her oath of office and betrayed citizens of Winchester. And I think there's a real need for you to step up and do something about it.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Candace?
Candace Bouchard, 135 Riverton Road. I was wondering if there's an update on 102 Grabo Drive, the development of that property for the 5,000 square foot building. Is there any progress on that happening?
Nothing to report at this time.
I see that you had an RFQ out for murals. Did you get any takers?
We did.
Excellent. When will the audit be available? Will it be at your next town meeting, selectmen meeting, presented?
It's gotta go to, it'll go to print, it's gotta be sent to the states. It'll probably be by the fall, by the time you'll have the complete, we can put the,
For
let me back up.
For 2020,
4, yeah.
23.
Oh, 23?
Yes, when are you getting the audit back? It was due December 31st.
Correct, and we just finished it on Friday.
Right, so when would that be scheduled for the next meeting?
Potentially, it might be scheduled for the next meeting, but we can at least, we won't have it printed, but at minimally, we can get it up online, so we can have a downloaded copy, so easier that way. But I'll see how quickly we can get the audit turned around and put up online.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else wish to speak? Moving on to item 12, Selectmen's comments and reports. I'll start here. For those of you who don't know, on June 8th, a town employee was seriously injured in an ATV accident, which he has serious injuries. He'll need to undergo a few more surgery and has a long road to recover ahead of him. There is a charity event for him, a pasta dinner, 50-50 raffle, motorcycle ride on Saturday, June 27th. It's $20 per person, Saturday, July 27th. The ride starts at 10 a.m. at Raleigh Street. So anyone is interested, you can contact the Public Works Department, Fire Department, or the town clerk's office as well. Anyone else?
Don't forget to go out and vote tomorrow for this budget. If this budget doesn't pass, this is not going to be good for the town, because everything will be on the chopping block. Everything and everybody. So let's get out and vote and show support.
All right, and lastly, just I wanted to personally thank the Winchester Police Department. If you've noticed, the events across the state these last couple of weeks, there have been several attacks on police officers. Just yesterday, we had a car try to force a police vehicle off the road. People don't say it enough, but on behalf of myself, I'd like to thank the Winchester Police Department for all that they do. With that,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
second. All in favor? Unanimous?
That voice usually comes from over here. It threw me off.
I know. I thought we were gonna have to stay here.
I know, I don't know if any of you guys are gonna step up.